Hello everyone, today we're going to be working on a painting of a deer with antlers. And as you can see, I've already got a quick gestural line drawing on the page. And I created that one using Prussian blue watercolour pen. And I do these kind of sketches quite often actually, because they're really quick to do. And you haven't invested very much time. So if they go wrong, it's no big deal. But if they go right, then you end up with something that perhaps you want to keep as a finished article. And if not, then you can, work over the top of them with paint or marker pen, whatever you like. So this is actually going to be a mixed media painting. And so what I'm doing here is using a different watercolour marker. This one's obviously green. And I've just put in a little indication of some grass. And having done that, I'm now spraying the watercolour again with water, and I'm dragging a clean brush through that and just moving that paint around a little bit on the paper. The paper I'm using is A2 Daler-Rowney mixed media paper, and if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that I use this quite a lot. It's one of my favourite papers at the moment. So the idea with this painting is to really create a sense of light and background using the watercolour markers and keeping those colours reasonably subdued with quite soft edges. And then when I come to work on the animal, that will have much bolder colours. And as you can see, I'm currently adding some more watercolour with the watercolour pens. This time I'm putting an orange down. And once again, having wetted the surface of the painting, I'm simply dragging that same brush back and forth through those patches of colour. And as you can see, I'm even doing that on the original drawing, starting to move the blue around as well. So that obviously introduces some blue above the deer, but in addition it mixes in a little bit with some of the other colours that I put down. So you get it's a really quick way of introducing several colours and lots of blending, soft edges. Next up, I'm adding some purple. Now in this case, I'm being a little bit more careful in terms of selecting where the colour goes. And the reason I've chosen to put the purple in those two areas is that that's where the light is catching the deer most dramatically. So the brightest parts of the deer are next to those purple areas. So I'm making the background there darker than the rest to help give us a stronger sense of contrast to those areas. And hopefully that will become more apparent when I get further into the painting. So I'm still working with the same brush. It's 1 inch wide, synthetic, flat brush. I haven't cleaned the brush at all since we started the video. So soft bristles, just really easy to move across the page. And what I'm doing now is popping in some more patches of orange. And these are meant to suggest some foliage, perhaps up in a tree in the top left there. And perhaps some fallen leaves down on the ground. And in this case, I'm again using the same brush, I'm teasing out the edges of those patches of colour. But whereas before I was moving the brush up and down vertically, this time I'm going in all different directions to help suggest some kind of just variation on the ground, really. So I've changed brushes now. I've switched to a 1/2 inch flat brush and I've picked up some purple on that brush, and I'm using the Atelier interactive acrylics. And although these paints are designed to be reactivated, in other words, if you let them dry and then spray them with water, you can reactivate them and they're easy to blend, which isn't the way conventional acrylics work. I'm not actually planning to use that feature in this painting in particular. But I still like to use these paints over conventional acrylics quite often because they do stay open for a little bit longer. And of course, should I need to reactivate them, then I can. So even though I'm not planning to, it's good to have that safety net.